Today I fucked up caught my dad with a suspicious text and told my mom. Hello everyone. I've never really made a post before, but I really wanted to get this off my chest, because I've never been so scared. I am a 29 years old guy with no real social life. My only social exposure is online with friends I've made in video games, and my immediate family. I like going out to dinner with my grandmother and dad from my father's side, stepdad, but I'm not sure if it's really relevant in the end. And we went to a local restaurant. While we were eating and chatting, specifically about current political events, it's probably exactly what you think. I glanced over and caught my dad getting a text message from someone. I'll call her Abby. I didn't get the full context, but it was on Snapchat, and her message to him said something like, ________, I love you so much. Thank you ________, with something about someone named Dan? Another placeholder name. I did see a different name. I didn't get to fully see it honestly, sorry. But I know my dad, and I know what is and isn't okay with my parents. I really wanted to ask about it, but wasn't sure if it was okay, because it felt invasive. However, I felt burdened with the knowledge, and didn't think it was okay to ignore. Later we dropped my grandma off and were walking to our respective cars, when I stopped him and asked, "Hey, I'm sorry this will be awkward, but who is Abby?" And he said, "What do you mean?" I told him I saw a woman message him, and that he replied about going out with family. Now, I guess I can't really convey this clearly, but I know my dad. In other scenarios, he would immediately tell me what's going on. I gave him pretty obvious information. He was playing dumb, and it kind of solidified my beliefs and fears. It almost felt like it was the confession, but can you make me say it game? So I told him I saw another woman say I love you. He took a second to think and said, I'll tell you later when we start driving. So I said okay, like to me that was progress and acknowledgement. So I got in my car, he got in his, and I started driving. After like 5 minutes, I decide I guess I'll call him. Once I rang, he picked up and said hi. And if it's important, he answered like it was the first time we spoke that day, like I was expecting him to kind of know where to start the convo, but it was a hello like it was some surprise. Anyways, I asked him, "Hey, I need to know what that text was about." He said, "What text?" And I was getting anxious and told him the one about Abby. He sighed and said, "Abby is an ex of mine, and she started talking to me one day about how her husband divorced her. She was confiding in me about the divorce. I asked, does mom know about this? And he said it hesitantly and, no. He literally did that pause, I'm not even kidding. Well, I told him, that's something I think mom would want to know, because that's not normal. You're married, dude. He just said I know, and like did a nervous giggle. At this time I felt dissatisfied, because my dad is my hero. I really look up to him. He's always been a get-the-job-done kind of dude. He's silent and observant. He's my stepdad, and it wasn't the best at first, but he really shined to me over the years. It was hurting to see him pussyfoot around like this. Like any other time, even with sensitive information in the family, he speaks immediately, clearly, and wholly. This just felt wrong. So I pushed him saying, I feel like this may be overstepping, but as much as this is your wife, she's my mom. It would make me feel much better if you told her this person was chatting with you, because I'm sure over 2 decades isn't worth the sneaking around about this. Like if you just told her, hey, my ex messaged me, what do you make of this? She would understand. But knowing you're talking to another woman you once had a romance with, and keeping it from her, would hurt her a lot. He said I know, and I will. I felt happy with that, so I left it at that. I later got home, but I guess my mom asked my dad to go out and pick up my sister. Naming isn't really important. Who had been out somewhere, I don't really know. I had called my mom, and that's what she said. I asked her something about her day and stuff, but then I decided to put up a safety measure. I told her, hey mom, this is going to sound scary in like an anxious way, but do not panic. I need you to listen to me, please. She said, okay, what's up? I told her I encountered something today, and I told Dad to tell you. It's not something you should lose sleep over. Just know I expect Dad to tell you something when he's home. Let's give it until Saturday. Just let me know if he says anything or not. Trust me, if he tells you, you'll know. Don't tell him I called you. She said okay. I told her I love her and to sleep well. I didn't put times before, but the dinner was at 7 p.m. I saw the text at some point halfway through, and we left at 8 p.m. Then dropped Grandma off around 8:45 p.m., and that's when I confronted my dad. I got home around 9 p.m., and called my mom pretty much as soon as I got in the door. So I am sitting and waiting, and 10 p.m. hits. I text my mom if he said anything, And she says no. My dad goes to bed at 10 p.m. for work. I kind of cracked, because next thing I knew I was putting on my jacket, and I texted my mom, "Don't go to bed, I'm coming over." I know I said to her let's wait until Saturday, but I felt compelled to confront this situation. To me, him not saying anything was cowardly, not what my dad would have done. This isn't standing on business. This is evasion, and I just drove over. I parked on the street by their house, and used my key to let myself in. We have keys to each other's houses, because I live alone, and if I needed help or anything, I could go there or they could check on me. My mom was expecting me and sitting in the living room. Two-story house, dad and sister are upstairs. I asked my mom where dad was, and she said he's in bed. I said I need him to come downstairs, and that there needs to be a talk. My mom, who I told not to worry, clearly was shocked because I'm acting shook as fuck, and not like someone who thinks this is normal and nothing to get scared about. Anyways, she calls him down, and he said, "What's up?" I look at him and say, "Listen, this is my mom. You need to tell her." And this guy has the nerve to say, "Tell her what?" in an irritated voice. I won't lie, I got really scared, as I don't think I've ever stood up to my dad. There wasn't a reason to, but it's like standing up to an animal. Kept thinking about a lion and shit. But I thought to myself that I won't be pushed away from this, because it was eating me up. So I stood on business and said, "You need to tell my mom about the texts I saw on your phone at dinner." And my mom snapped her head towards my dad. I guess it's important to say my dad was on a couch, and my mom in a recliner, where they were facing each other, but the recliner is in the corner of the room, so she was like pivoted a little towards me and him. I was standing up. I think my dad kind of buckled under the pressure and started off with, "About 3 months ago Abby started messaging me." And while talking, my mom looked over at me, and with a concerned expression and the softest voice said, "It's okay. You can go home, I will handle this." And dudes, I started getting all emotional because that felt like I know about this, I don't want you to be here for this. So I look back at my dad who's still talking looking at the ground, and I start feeling the weirdest blend of sad angry, and I just left. Drove home, and here we are. Why am I in the Today I Fucked Up Reddit? I'm not sure it was the right call. I didn't see him say anything bad back to her. I feel like I reacted to things that I shouldn't have, because it wasn't my place. I made deals with both of my parents to do things, dad to tell her with his words, mom to wait for something to happen by Saturday. I think I rushed this. I don't actually know what's going on. I'm scared, because I think letting it happen naturally was the more mature thing to do. I'm scared, guys. Too long did not read. Caught a concerning message on my dad's phone from a girl, and told him to tell mom about it. Then I told my mom that my dad has something to tell her, but then I rushed it, and now I'm scared my dad will hate me, and my mom will doubt their marriage. Update. Man, here I was thinking Opie was going to find out his parents were swingers. Gotta be honest, the 3 months ago got me. Yesterday I'd understand. Last week I'd barely be okay with. 3 months is, I'm wondering if I should go back to her. Honestly, dude, I spent most of the story thinking that you did fuck up by rushing things. But when that 3 months line came in, my friend, you were not the one who fucked up here. If you were my son, and I was either of the parents in this scenario, I would be so proud of you. I, and most people, get angry with folks that hold a mirror up to me and show me when I'm doing wrong. That's a common reaction. In a mature person that will dissipate in time. I hope that's true of your stepdad. I think the way you spoke to him was very honorable, and you showed him that you expected him to be a man of character. I would want a friend to call me out like that. Of course I wouldn't enjoy it, but this is how we grow. What your mom does with this information is her business. I'm sorry this is so disappointing. Life is tough sometimes. Maybe get someone to talk to. I think you did right by your mom in this instance, regardless of how bad it feels. You were the one who acted like a real man should, and handled it with grace and empathy. I would never let someone do my mom dirty, and I wouldn't expect any son or daughter that cares about their mother to do any less. This is more of a TIFU. Today my dad fucked up. But keep being you and support your mom through this as best you can. Are you autistic by any chance?